In the Frozen 2 trailer, giant rock monsters loom over the skyline in a misty forest. There are tons of questions surrounding this, and we want answers, dang it. Who are they? What do they want? Are they friend or are they foe? Hey guys, welcome back to The Binger. With Frozen 2 just around the corner, the rumor mill is going wild. The second trailer has been dropped, and boy, it was worth the wait. We can't wait to see what goes down in the movie, but there's one question that stands out above the rest. Who is the villain going to be? Join us as we take a look at some potentials and their origins. How could it be, we hear you cry? It might sound a little far-fetched, seeing as Elsa is one of the most loved Disney princesses. However, there's a strong possibility that she might cross over to the dark side. In the first movie, the Ice Queen discovers how limitless her magic is. Scared that she's gonna hurt someone, she climbs to the top of a mountain and shuts herself away. In the process, she accidentally hurts Anna again when one of her ice blasts goes awry. Although Elsa is a bit of a nuisance at first, she's good at heart. Writers had a different plan in mind for her when the character was first created though. Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck have made no secret of Elsa's origins. Originally, she was supposed to be the bad guy. Malicious, evil, she had it all. Thankfully, Lee and Buck started playing around with other concepts and soon decided that she would be better off as a good guy. That doesn't mean she isn't complex though. In the recently released second trailer, one of the trolls warns Anna to be careful. According to him, Elsa's magic may be too much for this world. In the sequence, Elsa certainly does some stuff that we've never seen her do before. Could she end up going off the deep end, either accidentally or on purpose? With her newfound freedom, Elsa could start to enjoy herself a little too much. Whether she means to or not, this queen certainly has the potential to have others tremble in fear. Another thing that's teased in the new trailer is the appearance of giant rock monsters. A lot of fans have speculated the imagery is similar to Brave. In the 2012 flick, a Scottish princess toys with magic and accidentally turns her mother into a bear. It's a whole thing. In this Frozen 2 trailer, giant rock monsters loom over the skyline in a misty forest. Who are they? What do they want? Are they friend or foe? They have size going for them, and they appear to be made of rock. And they won't be lacking in strength either. Elsa looks completely terrified as she hides. If there are otherworldly forces at work, then maybe these rock monsters are their minions. They could even be an entire race of magical beings themselves. They also look surprisingly similar in shape to the giant ice monster that Elsa created to defend her castle in the first movie. Coincidence? Sure, it totally could be. Or it could be the work of one rogue troll that wants to bring Elsa down. All it takes is one bad apple to get threatened by Elsa's power. When the first trailer dropped, it gave us some pretty good information. Audiences had been waiting for years for any clues whatsoever. One of the most pivotal things that fans drew from the snippet was the appearance of the two new characters. A red-headed girl and a boy in a dark coat can be seen in the woods. It looks like she's using her powers to keep them flying around in the leaves before they're interrupted. Many fans have speculated that these two are Anna and Elsa's parents when they're young. There's a weight to this theory, as the troll in the new trailer says that the past isn't what it seems. However, none of us really know anything for sure. If she can be good, then she can also be bad. What if this girl isn't the Queen of Arendelle, but just someone with similar abilities to Elsa? In a previous video, we explored the intriguing possibility that the mystery girl is in fact villain of the piece. After all, Elsa went a little ice crazy, so it stands to reason that someone else with powers might not be handling it all that well. If you've spent a ton of time poring over the new trailer, like us, then you'll be familiar with the pink fire. It rips through the forest before hopping from tree to tree. This is an important part in more ways than one. The flames look visually stunning, and given their shade, they're the very opposite of Elsa's ice. It's not clear, but this fire could be an entity of its own, or something that's being controlled. It's very possible that someone else with powers is using it as a weapon. The people in the clip look shocked and scared as they flee the scene, and let's face it, no one good unleashes that sort of chaos. We've yet to see someone rival Elsa in terms of magic, so it would be a brilliant way to move the story forward. fire melts ice, so the queen might find herself in deep doo-doo if she has to battle these pink flames. It's something that's beautiful as well as terrifying, much like Elsa's powers were to her friends at first. Fans have been saying for quite some time that Anna may be getting powers of her own. Could she be responsible for this? It might make sense. Think about it. Anna has red hair while Elsa has white, fire and ice. It could make for some great conflict if Anna finds herself unable to control her powers. The Battle of the Siblings. The trolls have been quite important up to this point, although we haven't seen a lot of them. When Anna is struck by Elsa's powers as a child, the king and queen take her to be healed by them. Years later, Anna visits them alongside Kristoff. We know they're magical, but that's all we really know. They raised Kristoff, but wouldn't it be great if they weren't as nice as they seem? Sure, it would be heartbreaking too, but there's nothing like a little bit of betrayal. In the first movie, Prince Hans surprised us all by being the true baddie. Lulling audiences into a false sense of security is a brilliant way to entertain. Plus, the trolls look like rocks at first, don't they? If anyone stumbles across them in the forest, then they're disguised. Seeing as that they have a lot to do with rocks and the like, it's possible that they could be associated with the giant rock monster. We already know that they possess power and can do witchy things. Is it too much to presume that they're just pretending to have Anna and Elsa's best interests at heart? The trailer paints a picture of a movie that's considerably darker than the first outing. There's a lot of deep, haunting visuals involving Elsa in particular. At the start, she uses her ice to try and get across the sea, but is slammed into the waters by the wave that comes over her head. As she tries to get back to the surface, a strange water horse appears in front of her. Elsa is just as confused by the animal as the rest of us, but doesn't have much time to examine it. In just a few seconds, it's gone. It's safe to say that this isn't some sort of residual ice being that Elsa's made, but something else entirely. As it gallops through the water and stops at the queen, its eyes glow. Then, it disappears. It doesn't do anything to threaten Elsa as such, but it also doesn't look overly friendly either. It's not the kind of pony you'd let your kids pet, put it that way. It could be a sign of what's to come, but who's pulling the strings? Let's not forget that Anna and Elsa's parents perished at sea. Could the sea itself be to blame? Or could they be some kind of sorceress lurking in the depths? The expanse of water does look bleak and dangerous, so it clearly has something to do with what's going on. In the first trailer, Anna is shown seemingly stranded on a rock as the waves crash against it. She looks upset, alone and well, just down and out. Could that be the work of someone, or just an accident? The possibilities are almost endless. Prince Hans wooed Anna in the first movie, and she fell for him hook, line, and sinker. That's what happens when you're cooped up in a palace for years. As soon as those doors open, you'll say yes to the first marriage proposal you get. That's what happens in Disney anyways. It's easy to think that Prince Hans has played out his role, but think about it. His plan didn't work out, and he was sent back to his kingdom with his tail between his legs. As one of the many siblings, what if his plan was actually hatched by his whole family? As Hans returned to his homeland, weak and a failure, they might be quite peeved. Arendelle has many riches, according to one lord, so they could be a prime target. And the Southern Isles could declare war on Arendelle, which isn't unheard of. Every empire has its enemies, but on the flip side, some think that Prince Hans will return, but only to redeem himself. Frankly, we wouldn't mind either way. He was an interesting character, but it's unlikely that he'll be the main villain. Sure, we've seen a lot of evil witches over the last few decades. There was the one that cursed Beast's castle, Ursula who took Ariel's voice away, the evil queen that hunted Snow White. They're everywhere, but it worked so well. It's a tried and tested recipe that is snapped up every time. This theory goes back to how Elsa got her powers. We still don't know how she ended up being able to shoot magic out of her hands. The only piece of info we got is when the troll asked the king and queen if she was born or cursed with them. They answered, born. So that sounds natural, but what if someone cursed her mother while she was pregnant? This theory holds some gravitas in the fandom. If the being that cursed Elsa's mama is still around, then it could be responsible for the shipwreck. They could also be lying in wait for the chance to finish the job off. It takes a lot of gumption to run a kingdom while also staying on top of magical powers, trolls, and everything that comes with that. Factor in fending off an evil witch that has a grudge against their family, and you've got chaos. There are a million things that writers could do with this arc too, like delve into what the Arendelle royalty did to warrant the hate. Disney isn't too fussy about what brings on a witch's wrath. So what do you think? Which villain is your money on? Sound off down in the comments. And before you go, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to keep up to date with us at The Binger. You don't want to miss a thing. Until next time, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side.